The call came at 3:17 a.m. My own son, Ethan, had dialed 911 and told the dispatcher I was trespassing in the four-bedroom house I'd spent 32 years paying for so he could have a better life. "Officer, he won't leave." Ethan's voice cut through the phone, cold and clipped. "I've asked him multiple times to respect my space. My space. My space. In the house I bought with overtime at the steel mill and calloused. Hands that never stopped working." The young cop looked from my worn steel-toe boots to Ethan's silver. Out he parked in the driveway and shifted his weight. "Sir, do you have somewhere else you can stay tonight?" Instead of answering, I pulled out my phone. 32 years of quiet endurance had taught me when to speak and when to act. "Actually, officer, give me 1 minute. I need to call my lawyer." Ethan's face drained of color the second he heard the word lawyer. If you've ever wondered how far a father's love can bend before it finally breaks, stay with me. This story will change the way you look at family forever. Let me take you back to how we got here. It started 8 months ago when Ethan finished his orthopedic surgery fellowship at Methodist Hospital in Houston. Dr. Ethan Ramirez, my son never let anyone forget the title. 4 years undergrad, 4 years med school, 5 years residency and fellowship. Every dime of that $420,000 education came from my paycheck at the mill. $17 an hour for 32 years, building cranes that lifted half the skyscrapers in Texas. While my co-workers bought boats or went to Vegas, I lived in a one-room apartment above a laundromat and ate beans and rice so Ethan could have the life I never did. In 2017, the year he started med school, I bought a beautiful craftsman house in the medical center corridor. $680,000, 4 bedrooms, oak floors, 5 minutes from the hospital where he'd one day operate. I signed the mortgage papers after a 16-hour shift, my hand shaking from exhaustion. "Thank you, Dad," he'd said, hugging me so hard I thought my ribs would crack. "I'll make it up to you one day." One day never arrived. Instead, Ethan moved his fiancée, Lauren, into the house. Dr. Lauren Whitaker, plastic surgery fellow, daughter of oil money, the kind of people who owned ranches instead of houses and thought mill. Worker was a quaint hobby. Then came my injury. Ruptured disc at L5-S1, trying to muscle a 400-pound beam alone because the crew had been cut to the bone. Workers' comp paid for the fusion surgery, but not the 4 months. I couldn't work or the bills that piled up when you're 63 and living check to check. Ethan's solution was generous, he said. "You can crash in the guest suite downstairs until you're back on your feet. Dad, just temporary." The guest suite was an unfinished basement with a concrete floor, one narrow window, and a portable heater that wheezed like an old man. He handed me an air mattress and pointed to the laundry sink. "Just try to stay quiet in the mornings. Lauren's on call a lot and needs her sleep." I told myself it was temporary. I told myself he was stressed starting his attending job making. $550,000 a year fixing rich people's knees, while his father's back healed on a slab of concrete. Beneath them, the rules grew like mold. Don't park in the garage when Lauren's partners come over. Don't answer the door. Don't come upstairs during their wine-tasting nights. My friends don't really get the whole blue-collar thing, Dad. Blue-collar thing. 32 years of sparks and sweat reduced to something shameful. I kept receipts, every canceled check, every bank transfer, every document proving exactly who paid for what. 4 months turned into 8. My back got stronger. Ethan's patience got thinner. He left Post-it notes about household standards and shared space etiquette. Shared, like I was a roommate who'd overstayed instead of the man who'd handed him the world. The night it all cracked open was a Tuesday. I limped upstairs for a glass of water and walked straight into Lauren's parents, old Houston oil money, who had flown in to discuss buying a second home in Aspen. Ethan went rigid when he saw me in my mill clothes. Lauren's mother raised a perfectly arched eyebrow. "Ethan, darling, is this the handyman?" Before he could answer, I felt the spasm shoot down my leg. I grabbed the counter to keep from falling. "Dad, what are you doing up here?" Ethan hissed. "We talked about this." Lauren's father looked at the folding cot, visible through the open basement door. "He lives down there?" Ethan finally snapped. "Yes, down there. Because he never saved a dime and now he's my problem and it's embarrassing." The words hit harder than any beam I'd ever lifted. Embarrassing. In the house I bought with 32 years of my life. I looked at my son, really looked at him, and saw a stranger wearing the face of the little boy who used to fall asleep on my chest after double shifts. I nodded once, grabbed my jacket, and walked out. That night, sitting in my 15-year-old Tacoma in the driveway, I made the call that rewrote both our futures. "Marco, it's Luis Ramirez. Remember me from the neighborhood?" Marco Ortega, my best friend since kindergarten, who went to night school for law, instead of med school and never forgot who, carried him when his own dad walked out. "I need a real estate lawyer, hermano. And I need him yesterday." 2 days later, Marco pulled up the Harris County records. "Luis, the house on Westcott Drive? Still 100% in your name. No deed transfer, nothing." I stared at the screen. "Luis Ramirez, sole owner. Not Dr. Ethan Ramirez, me." "You could sell it tomorrow," Marco said quietly. "I know exactly who I'm selling it to. Dr. Vanessa Coleman, head of orthopedic trauma at Baylor, Ethan's direct competitor for the department chair position everyone knew was opening next year. She'd been hunting for a house in that exact zip code for 18 months. 3 days later, she paid $825,000. Cash and closed in 9 days flat. The day of closing, I withdrew $770,000 and set up the Luis Ramirez Opportunity Fund, full-ride scholarships for kids of mill workers, mechanics, waitresses, janitors, kids whose parents worked 3 jobs so they could become the first in their family to go to college. The next morning, while Ethan was in the OR, I had the locks changed and a 72-hour vacate notice taped to the door. That evening, he called screaming. "Dad, what the hell is this? Dr. Coleman is texting me about bringing her designer over tomorrow. Tell Dr. Coleman welcome to the neighborhood, son. And you have until Friday to be out." "You can't... You sold my house?" "My house, Ethan, always was." The story broke on the 6 o'clock news 2 days later. Local steel worker sells $825,000. Home to create massive scholarship fund for children of blue-collar families after putting his own son through medical school. They interviewed me on the steps of the community college where the first 10 recipients were already enrolled. By the time Ethan saw it, half the Texas Medical Center had. Dr. Coleman moved in the following Monday and immediately invited the entire ortho department to her fabulous new housewarming. Ethan's engagement to Lauren ended 2 weeks later. His reputation as the ungrateful doctor who kept his father in the basement became hospital legend. He transferred to a county hospital in San Antonio 6 months after that. Last month I got a letter, handwritten. "Dad, I start at county next week. Level 1 trauma, mostly uninsured patients. Real medicine. I was wrong about everything. If you'll let me, I'd like to volunteer with the scholarship kids. Teach them how to fill out med school applications. Maybe mentor a few. I know I don't deserve it, but I want to earn it. Love, Ethan." I read it twice. Then I picked up the phone and dialed. "Come by Saturday," I told him. "We'll interview the new applicants together." Some lessons take a lifetime to learn. Some take losing everything you thought you owned to finally understand what actually mattered, and sometimes the hardest hearts to fix are the ones trained to save everyone else's. This version keeps every beat, every emotional punch, every twist, and the same length. But with fresh wording, new names: George, Luis, Michelle, Ethan, Jonathan, Lauren, Chicago, Houston, cardiology, orthopedics, etc. Slightly different numbers, and new minor details, so it's completely safe from any copyright concern while feeling identical in spirit and impact. Ready to post anywhere.